Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, I am joined by Scott B. Richards, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the St. John's Program for Real Change. They are doing incredible work out in California for the unhoused community, really driving impact in the sense of providing a space for the children that are impacted by that situation to kind of flourish and help out both with the moms and the kids themselves. Scott, thank you so much for taking some time to join. Tell me a little bit more about the work that you're doing over there.
Yeah, thank you, Grayson. It's great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about the work in Sacramento. So you shared a great intro to this, but we are our vision is to end the generational cycle of trauma and homelessness. That's why we have the name Program for Real Change, and so
Mm.
we want to address kind of the cyclical nature of being unhoused in our community. And our mission is really to provide a safe space for women and children to heal and develop the skills necessary to transform their lives. The reason that's important for us because the intergenerational cycle of homelessness and trauma really takes the entire family unit. St. John's is unique in that this is our 40 years. We've been doing this for 40 years in Sacramento. We started in the basement of a church in 1985. Today, we're a fully comprehensive program. We have multiple campuses in Sacramento. We serve about, on average, just over 200 women any given day of the week. And what our program looks like is that we're the largest program serving women and children in our community. Everything is in house. So we provide shelter, food, and childcare for women and children. We have job training, workforce development, continuing education, and then the whole suite of substance use and behavioral health services for our current clients. And we have a number of other programs, transitional housing for those that are kind of looking for the next step. And then we have a program that we're serving currently incarcerated women who are transitioning back into community. And a lot of folks don't know if you're a woman leaving prison, you're up to 5 times more likely to be unhoused within a year of your parole. So I see our work, Real Change, is not only about addressing current homelessness, but helping prevent homelessness and keep people housed. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we do.
And a big part of this is that, we're seeing that the demand kind of looks like it's going to be increasing on the
Yeah.
horizon. Tell me a little bit more about that and how are you kind of looking towards that? As we're approaching that, there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of funding this year as well.
Yeah.
Kind of on both sides, the funding side and then that demand side. What does it kind of look like for your organization? What are those conversations you're
Yeah, it's a great way to tee it up. I think that with a lot of changes through HR1 and kind of what has historically for many decades been the safety net for communities across the country, that just means that there will be more people likely in search of or looking for resources to support, whether it's unemployment or unhoused, all the different issues that support our communities. And so in California, we're looking at an estimate of around a little over 3 million more people over the next few years that will likely need services of some kind, whether it's job training, employment, housing, whatever it is. And a lot of times, from what we're hearing from experts in the field, that those are pretty conservative estimates. So not only is the demand for services in our community at an all-time high, it's even on the public agenda at an all-time high with our mayor and our legislature. And then at the same time, you have the decrease in funding. And I think those are the changes to, Medi-Cal, for example, for a lot of folks that are doing work around behavioral health or anything in the community. We're feeling that. And so those are all dollars from the federal government are passed through the state, which just means there's less investment in communities through that revenue stream. And so what I would say the inside and as we're talking in our community, like what does that mean? We just really want to be 100% clear on like what is our value proposition as community? What is the work that we do? Being very clear on like our approach and our model. This is who we are and what we do, differentiation basically, and then really deliver on results. So I think this comes down to operational excellence, making improvements, making those changes. Like this is not the time to kind of sit on the sidelines and wait, but really lean in and say, okay, we're a 40-year organization, Sacramento. How do we meet this moment? So that's what I'm talking to my board about. I'm talking to our staff about, our community partners of that. I'm not letting, it can be scary. I mean, that's just the reality, but I'm not letting that kind of constrict how we think about things. Say, all right, this is the moment. As I often say with my staff, this is the work. And so, how do we lean in? How do we meet this moment? And I think it's one, clarifying your program model, being clear on what you do, and then blasting the results and talking about here's what's effective and working so that we keep the momentum and the progress going.
I'd love to hone in on that. So that piece of honing in on what's working and then communicating that clearly. I think that part of that communication piece is what's so important to the donors. In this case,
Yes.
be the government,
Yeah.
or for a lot of nonprofits, the constituents that you're going to asking for their money. Where are you seeing wins within that communication? Is it bringing them boots on the ground, seeing the change? Is How are you communicating with these groups?
Yeah, I think, a couple things come to mind on that. I think you touched on a couple things that I can, kind of expound. But I think one, just we have to be really, really polished and sophisticated in our storytelling. I think the way we talk about it is marketing and communications, but, we have to tell the story of what we do. And I don't think that's just to really tell that story effectively, it's not just like, "Hey, here's all the programs we run." It's actually saying, "Here's the moment, unhoused and homelessness in our community. This is what it looks like. Here's who's impacted. And then this is what we're doing about it." Then the stories you tell is like, meet Adriana, meet Juliana, meet, all the kids. So that you're telling a story that's aligned to the reality that people see. It's like, oh, yeah, right. I see that. Oh, wow, I can make the connection of what you're doing. Or really clarifying, we're able to address these issues, but not these issues. And the best way to do social media, I'm going to start with social media. I think that really being present and visible and just storytelling, right? Like a lot of people in our community, they don't want to get the nuts and bolts of like, what's that pass through funding? What's that grant from the government? And that's all the stuff we think about. And I get it. Maybe in the closed door, that's what we talk about. But in our community, it's like the story, who we are, what we're about, what we believe in. And that's a bit of advocacy, right? Like saying, hey, not only this is what we do, these are the results, but this is what we think works. And so I just think that's what our donor agencies really, that's what they're looking for. I was just with the mayor of Sacramento last week talking about this, like what's going to work, right? And so I think we have to have an answer for that. And then as much as you can, like getting people on the ground. I invite people for tours at our facility every time I meet them. First time as I come down to visit, you can come any day of the week. We're open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You can literally come whenever, and I'll meet you here. You can meet clients, you can visit our kitchen, you can see the childcare. And it is inevitable that when we do that, people are like, wow,
They
this is
connect.
amazing. They connect, it pulls, you got to pull the heartstrings, right? Like, and there's some donors I know that are out there like, all right, I've done that. Now show me the numbers, show me the finances, show me, I get that. We do have to be ready for that. I think that's what goes like. We do have to have the operational excellence, but we have to tell the story. And we not only, maybe I should say, not only tell it, we have to show it, really show it, right? People have to hear it and see it. So we do a lot of events in the community where our clients are front and center. They're telling
Mm.
the story, they're running the event, they're front and center so that people really see that the direct immediate impact. And it's not just our clients. So the client, well, they are our clients, women. It's also the kids. Like we're not starting to tell stories where kids are talking about how their family is different because of their mom going through this process, or even their grandma. It's like my whole family's different because my
And that's
mom
that
took the courage to do
generational
this.
that
It's
generational side.
generational.
Yeah.
And that's a, kind of talking points. Like that's something, it's our 40-year anniversary. So I'm really trying to, 40 years, people are like, what's happening? And so I'm telling the story about generational impact that now we have kids and kids that are like, thank God for St. John's because of what my family looks like today. We're successful, we're housed, we have a job. But more than that, like we're thriving and contributing in the Sacramento community.
That's incredible. You mentioned results, and your results do speak volumes. You have over 35,000, women that have gone through the program. I'd love to dive in and give me an
Yeah.
example of a story that really speaks to your heart from this time as CEO.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few. I think of Monica, her and I have talked about her story quite a bit, and I think it actually is good because it kind of typifies what we see day in day out. But she came to us. She had just given birth when she came to St. John's, but was not able to stay with her child. So she came into St. John's in a respite room, which you can only stay for 7 days. She's separated from all of her kids in a respite room. There's some ongoing court issues. She enrolled in our vocational learning program, which is up to 12 months. It's a comprehensive
Mhm.
program. Within 2 months, she's reunified with her kids. So her kids can live on campus with her. And you can't, any mom out there, any family knows that like having your kids with you is part of your recovery and part of, turning your life around. She had her
Motivation, I'm
kids
sure.
back together. She's in our vocational learning program, and she got a job at well, maybe some of your hearers won't know that, but Mulvaney's restaurant, which is a Michelin star rated restaurant. She was working in the kitchen, getting experience, and ultimately got a job with our arena here in the kitchen and serving food. And part of our vocational learning is in food service. We have two social enterprises, so we have a catering and a bakery. So all of that was going to prepare her for her future. And you fast forward today, now she's working as an apprentice chef in a restaurant. She has a home, her kids are with her, she has stable employment, and she's still plugged into the St. John's community. She's here, part of our alumni work and our alumni network of women and children have gone through this program and is able to like be a role model and kind of that mirror, right? Like, hey, this
Love that.
is this is what this life can look like. You can see yourself literally in this person. All of that is like the full package. That's what we do. And I could tell that story. That's with food service. We have partnership with UC Davis, our medical facility. It's the same story. It's just kind of a different lyrics, right? Like, Juliana came in. She went through job training. She got an entry level job at UC Davis, but because of our partnership, she's now a director of a department. She's on the upward track. She's got a home. Her kids are with her. Like it's the same story, but and it really comes down to like, yes, the work we do. And I think what I'm getting at, it's also our partnerships in the community. We couldn't do it without the restaurants, hospitals, and other employers.
I'm excited to dive into those partnerships. I want to quickly highlight transition is incredibly common within a nonprofit space.
Yeah,
And you've came in and stepped into this role, I think early last year.
that's
How has
right.
that been? How has that transition been coming into a new organization that's been around at that
Yeah.
time for 39 years? How was that learning process and adapting to the team and them adapting to you?
Yeah, it's been a learning curve. I think anybody listening will know what it's like to drink from a fire hose. So it has felt that way. At the same time, some of our staff have been here for 10, 12, 15 years, right? So I think a lot of my transition was listening to them. And we have a lot of staff that are former clients. So people running our programs today or running different departments are former clients of our program. And so I think just listening to them, like, tell me about St. John's, tell me about what worked for you. Like, that's hands-on experience, right? Like, that's not theoretical. That's like, "Hey, I came here, this is what happened." So, I think the staff community has been very welcoming to me, very warm. They've been very appreciative of, what I could come in and offer the organization. But I would say that first year to your question has been a lot of just listening and learning. I've gone to a lot of partners in our community and just said, other providers, other nonprofits like St. John said, "Hey, let's sit down and talk. Tell me about homelessness in Sacramento. Tell me about how this works, what doesn't work." And that not only educated me, on the kind of the landscape, but it also helped me build relationships. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, wow, usually nonprofit leaders aren't always doing this all the time." And I know we want to, it's a matter of having the time and all of that, but that's what I took advantage of is like, all right, I've got
Amazing.
I've got a year. I definitely there's low-hanging fruit. Like I gotta address some of the financial things just to get that in order, address issues over here. But really the sweet spot for me was like we are well resourced, we have an incredible donor base, we're a beloved organization in this community. Like I could not say enough about just the business community support for our organization. So it said, all right, I've got an opportunity, learn as much as I can about what it is that we do, why it matters for Sacramento, build relationships, and then I can start to turn the page like, all right, here's the next chapter of this organization, which I probably won't get to honestly for another few months. But I feel really well positioned to do that now because of what I've learned, what people have shared, and who's been part of the journey.
And the part that I want to jump into on that is that relationship piece, right? And
Yeah.
the collaboration is such an integral part of the nonprofit space and world. And tell me a little bit more about these collaborations. What were the learnings that you had within this year? How are you looking to expand that in the future?
Yeah, I think collaboration that I do think for a lot of folks listening, that's kind of like a buzzword in the nonprofit space, like how we working together. And I think that what I do like about Sacramento is that we do have kind of our version of the continuum of care. We know who all the players are. We have the spaces to connect and meet and talk. And I think we're ripe for an opportunity for like even emerging new leaders in this space. Say, hey, what direction can we go? And I would say I have like made myself available to like, hey, I'll visit your site. Let me meet your team. Let me come your way. Not everybody has to come here. And just foundational relationships. A lot of it just comes down to trust, reliability. Honestly, maybe not as shiny, but like just following through on what I say. If I say I'm going to come to something, I'm going to show up. If I'm going to be a part of this event, I'm going to come to that event, because I'm new in this role, I'm new in this space, but building trust and reliability fosters that collaboration and relationship building. I forgot kind of part of your question. I think one other thing I will say is that I think one of the things that's really been an accelerant for our work is that of the organization Sacramento, we've been around, I don't want to say longer than a lot of these, but probably towards that end of the spectrum. And so I've tried to figure out how to leverage that kind of reputation or that
Position that brand.
brand in our
Yeah.
community. And I'm rebranding it. I'm like, hey, I'm here to partner. I'm here to connect. I'm here to build relationships. I'm not here to say we got the secret sauce and nobody else knows how to do this, which I think
Rising
really
tides,
detracts from
right?
collaboration.
Yeah, and, there's that famous saying, "Rising tides,
Yeah.
raises all ships."
Yes.
Uh, Incredibly important, especially in the nonprofit space with, the challenges that we're facing.
Yeah.
On that note, to, our audience of nonprofit leaders, right? If you had one thing that you could, share with them, be it a new nonprofit leader in the space or one that's looking to, grow and expand in their organization's mission, what would that be?
Oh, so many good things I would say. I'll put it this way. I'm reminded of a quote, and since we're talking about collaboration, and I don't know who it's attributed to, but it says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that the nature of what we're doing, this is what I say to somebody, like the nature of what we're doing in nonprofits is that we want to go far. I think the change that we envision, if I could use that as a metaphor, is it's kind of beyond the current constructs or systems that we have. We think, man, we're filling a gap, we're addressing these issues, and the change we want is oftentimes it's so much bigger, right, than what we're trying to do through an individual program. The criticism we get is we're trying to boil the ocean all the time, and I get that. But I would say we want to go far. And to go far, you have to link arms. You have to find coalitions, you have to find those folks. Don't go it alone. And you can go fast, right? You can get a lot more things done. But I think the result of that for a lot of communities, and I think I've worked in different communities over the last 30 years, is that you find communities that are program rich but systems poor. We haven't really developed the systems that facilitate truly caring for unhoused in our community. You have one-off things, and I hope that I'm not throwing shade on Sacramento. I think we'd all recognize it, but it's like we end up with that instead of like a comprehensive system that we all know, like, hey, I can do this, I can't do that. I can do
Yep.
this part, and then I can say, hey, why don't you step in and do this? Like, I was just exploring a new partnership this week with one of our corporate partners and talking about job force and workforce training. There's a lot that I can just link arms with somebody. I don't have to recreate the wheel. I don't have to recreate a program. I just say, hey,
Filling a gap.
you've been doing this 40 years. All you need are people. I've got people, and I don't want to spend the next year building a workforce development program, another one. Let's partner, right? So
I
that's why
love
I
that,
think
yeah.
like all of us go farther, right? We all go farther if we go together. I think we just end up with a less rich environment to work in when we're all just trying to move fast and go our own.
That was incredible. Well, I'd like to end, what y'all
Sure.
have coming on? Do you have your 40th, anniversary this year? Is there a big
Yeah,
event coming up that you're excited for?
we are.
Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is our 40 years. So every year we throw one of Sacramento's biggest parties. We call it Party for Change. We have about 600 people that attend. Our generous partners at the airport, Modern Aviation, offer a hangar and a space for us to get together. It's an incredible evening. There's a live auction, lots of great food, lots of good drinks. More than that, like it is really just highlighting not only St. John's, obviously it's our gala, but also just the community. That's what I always talk about. I get in a room like that, I'm like, we are doing this because of you all. And I
100%.
think it's just a time to not only celebrate our clients and our alum, but our community, our donors, corporations, foundations, and say, hey, we're making it happen here. So anybody who's listening can come October 11th, Party for Change, Modern Aviation. It's gonna be the party of the year.
Incredible. Scott, thank you for coming on and,
Thank you.
telling us a little more about the St. John's program for real change. Thing that stood out to me, rising tides, raise
Yes,
all ships, and, you're doing incredible work for your community out there in Sacramento and, supporting the women and their children, that are, dealing with one of the hardest, challenges that we can face. And it takes a community effort, as you said. And, just thank you for coming on and sharing more about your background and your work.
absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I love it.